Hi guys, right, we're going to go on to the third quest, in the Ringmaker cycle. I always think of this as the second one, The Trouble in Tharbad. Just going to read the fluff for you now and then start the game in a separate video. So, The Trouble in Tharbad. Looking at Tharbad, the heroes were dubious. The river town was little more than a haven of freelancers and highwaymen, filled with dilapidated buildings amongst ruined and crumbling causeways. As soon as they entered the ancient city, they inquired with several townsfolk to discover where they might find Nalir. In due time, the heroes were pointed in the direction of a thatched and ramshackle tavern, the Empty Mug. Once inside, the heroes found the dwarf they sought sitting alone with a tankard of ale. His appearance did little to inspire confidence in the heroes, but there was a glint in his eyes when they spoke of the map that revealed a cunning mind at work. I have the map you seek, he said, wiping ale from his mouth. However, he continued slowly, I sold it to a man earlier today, name of Balak. A shady-looking character he was, not the sort of man to take no for an answer. But he offered a fair price, even if he was foul about it. I'm to meet him here at sundown to make the exchange. Unless you can offer me a better price. Nalir punctuated his question with a sly grin. The heroes were eager to purchase the map, and Nalir used it to his advantage. It took all the gold from Saruman's purse to convince the dwarf to sell the map to them, but in the end a deal was struck. Done! Exclaimed Nalir, clapping his hands together. A nice bit of business. Now let's finish it quickly before that Belloc returns. I'd like to be far away from here before he finds out I've sold the map to you. I don't imagine he'll take the news too kindly. With that, Nalir stood up from his seat and moved his chair aside to get at the floorboard it had been sitting on. He lifted the board and took out a rolled parchment from underneath. Here's the map I drew. It shows the way to the hidden chamber in Ostil Edhill. He spoke with obvious pride. Lucky to find it, I was. Elves are right clever about hiding things they don't want to be found. Another dwarf might have walked right over it without even knowing it was there. I dare say you'll never find it on your own, but now that you've got Nalir's map, you don't have to worry about that. He was just about to hand his map to the heroes when there was a shout from the doorway. A tall man in a dark cloak stood there. He had a cruel scar across his face, and his right hand was on his sword hilt. Several more sinister-looking men stood behind him. Belloc! Exclaimed the dwarf. Is that the map you sold to me? Demanded the man in the doorway, pointing at the parchment Nalir was about to give the heroes. There was murder in Belloc's eyes. You have made a foolish mistake, he snarled, then put his fingers to his lips and made a loud, shrill whistle. To the heroes' dismay, it was answered by the unmistakable sound of orc shouts from outside the cavern. Kill them! Belloc shouted to his followers as he drew his own sword. In the name of Mordor, bring me the map! Nalir wasted no time, fleeing for the back door as Belloc's men rushed inside. A roar of shouts and clanging steel filled the little tavern. Just as Nalir reached the door, it was thrown open from the outside by a large orc. The orc seized the map that was in Nalir's hand, but the dwarf's grip was strong. After a brief struggle, there was a loud ripping sound as the map was torn in two. You fool! Snarled Belloc at the orc with half a map in its hand. In that brief moment of distraction, the heroes saw their chance. Grabbing Nalir, they pushed past the bewildered orc and sped down the alleyway behind the tavern, the sound of the pursuit close behind. Right. See you for the actual game.